Biological Code Podcast, a podcast on Germanische Heilkunde. Welcome to the Biological Code Podcast, a podcast on Germanische Heilkunde, the greatest discovery in human history. Today we're talking about carrot allergy. Edith is Swiss and has been happily married for almost 20 years to Anton, who is now 45 years old. Whenever Anton ate raw carrots, his lips would burn and swell, and his entire mouth and throat became red and swollen. His hands would also react with redness, swelling, and itching as soon as he touched peeled carrots. Anton actually loved carrots, so it was especially sad that he could not eat them without suffering. A few months ago, Edith started studying Germanische Heilkunde. She learned the 5 biological laws of nature and was particularly interested in the connections relating to allergies. Thus, she knew that Anton's case was a special program of the outer germ layer. The outer germ layer controls the special programs for separation and territorial conflicts. The technical term would be ectoderm. Anton was affected in his oral mucosa with a mouth and tongue conflict, so he must have experienced a separation conflict in his mouth. The outer skin on his hands was also affected with the local separation conflict. Both tissues are squamous epithelium, though they have different sensitivity patterns. The skin on his hands, the epidermis, follows the outer skin pattern, which hurts during the healing phase, while it is numb in the active phase. In the oral mucosa, it is the other way around. It follows the so-called gullet mucosa pattern and hurts during the active phase, for example immediately upon contact with raw carrots. In the healing phase, the pain disappears, except for a short crisis. As you will see, the trigger from this event was clearly contact with raw carrots. This track repeatedly activated in Anton a brief separation conflict, which until then had not been fully resolved. The question now was, which biological conflict had Anton suffered in connection with carrots? Edith asked her husband to tell her everything he remembered about carrots, going back to his childhood because Anton had suffered from this allergy for over 30 years. Immediately they arrived at the decisive event, his DHS. Anton loved carrots and enjoyed eating them freshly picked every summer in his mother's garden. Anton had always been a precise and proper boy, even as a child. He was sensitive and mindful of cleanliness, and he still is today. He recalled an unpleasant visit from more than 30 years ago, when he must have been about 12 or 13 years old. One day, a family he wasn't fond of came to visit. His mother had prepared a traditional Swiss raclette with plenty of salads, including a delicious carrot salad. Among the visitors was a skinny, pale boy who heaped a large amount of carrot salad onto his plate and shoved it into his mouth very messily. Suddenly, the boy started choking. The boy's mother immediately took his plate, held it under his chin and said, "Let it out, Dominic, let it out." Anton had to watch in horror as the skinny boy vomited the fine carrot salad in a disgusting way on the plate. That was his biological conflict. The situation had been highly dramatic, naturally unexpected, and he felt isolated in it. Anton only wanted to separate from the horrible side of the boy and his mother presented at that moment. From then on, he was allergic to raw carrots. It was so bad for him that even after 30 years, he remembered exactly who sat where at the table and the boy's name, although he never had contact with him again. With a separation conflict, there are always two possibilities, either not wanting to be separated from a loved one or wanting to be separated from someone for whatever reason. Usually it involves the other person doing something unpleasant. In the outer germ layer, handedness plays an important role. With separation conflicts, one must always consider where the symptoms originally began. If symptoms start on the left side, for a left-hander, the conflict is with a partner, for example, father, brother, sister, friend, or an enemy. And on the right side, it is with the mother or the children. But in this case, the conflict was suffered locally. This means that the symptoms appear where the conflict was perceived locally on the body. This must always be taken into account because depending on how the conflict was felt will determine whether it is experienced locally or by handedness. Anton, being left-handed, does not play any significant role in his locally felt separation conflict. After identifying the conflict, Edith gave her husband a general explanation of the biological laws and how an allergy develops. Most importantly, she made clear that this situation could never happen again. He would never again, as a boy, eat raclette with his parents and this unpleasant family. Anton laughed and agreed. Then he got up and went to the kitchen and peeled a carrot. He still had very mild allergic symptoms. The next day, he repeated the process, and from the third day after his final conflict resolution, he ate his beloved vegetable passionately again without any reaction. That same year, Edith planted him his own little garden bed of carrots. He loves it day after day, and they are both grateful to God with all their hearts for his healing. Had Anton's family already known about Germanische Heilkunde, his carrot allergy would have been linked to the situation much earlier. But as it was, he had largely been forced to go without carrots for over 30 years. Everyone should be able to act like Edith did, applying Germanische Heilkunde to themselves and their loved ones. Learn the basics, the guiding principles of Germanische. They are not difficult, but they are completely different from much of what we've been told. The knowledge of Germanische Heilkunde belongs in every household. If you want to learn the biological code and truly understand the 5 biological laws, you can find more information on our association's website urkraftleben.at or visit thebiologyproject.org. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe now to follow us for more. Thanks for listening. Until next time.